Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating race, and I think it does give a little bit of hope to the Democrats. It's a very strange district. I actually used to live in that district many years ago for a short time, and it's kind of the heart of what you call the Reagan Democrats, which are these pro-union, blue-collar, white, very socially conservative voters. And Fritz was a great candidate. People in that district loved Jack Murtha, the congressman, longtime congressman who died this year, and Fritz really kind of carried on the Murtha tradition. I mean, he was very socially conservative himself. He's pro-gun. He's pro-life on the abortion issue, and it's hard to know what to make of that district. You know, it's the only district in the country that voted for John Kerry in 2004 and then flipped and voted for John McCain in 2008. So it's a very unusual electorate out there. But what he did, Chris, was he really localized the race, and he kept the focus, I think, off of Obama and off of national politics, and was able to win. And I think that could be instructive for other Democrats running in other races around the country.
Katrina vanden Heuvel, you were looking at that race. You were looking at the Kritz race.
I thought it was an interesting race. It's just as well describes that district. It's a sort of conservative district. But I think it was a victory for Labor. Rich Trumka, I believe, has a connection to that district. He may
head of the
AFL-CIO. Labor went all out, get out the vote, 16,000 calls, knocking on doors, 75,000 flyers to 60 work sites. So I think, you know, in his message to that district, AFL President Rich Trumka spoke about the need for jobs at the top of an agenda, and talked a populist message, which I think really resonated in a district which is hurting. And as Will says, it's hard to nationalize that race, but it's a message to Democrats, what kind of message they should go out into the country with in this election season.
Because, of course, I mean, Mark Kritz being the aide to Murtha, you couldn't have more establishment than that. I can't remember how many terms Murtha served.
I mean, there's a little bit of an Alice in Wonderland quality this morning, because it is a loss for it's a defeat for the bipartisan establishment, but within each race there are nuances, because Kritz was part of the establishment, Murtha's longtime aide. And, you know, Specter, it was expediency. Sestak is interesting. He is probably a better candidate against Pat Toomey in the general. But again, on Afghanistan, an issue that hasn't really come up in this election, though we mark a grim marker of 1,000 dead this week in Afghanistan, American soldiers. You know, Sestak is very much on the Obama administration surge pro-policy side, whereas Specter raised some tough questions. So,
and yet it was Specter who was the Republican candidate for so long, Reverend Jackson, in Pennsylvania. I mean, I think this is the first time that all these Democrats in Pennsylvania would have had to flip and vote for the man they voted against for so many years.
He used the right language. He was seen as flip-flopping. 80 years old, a younger, stronger, more decisive man with a point of view. Democrats could not trust him, they felt. Republicans did not have confidence in him. What strikes me about the race